stress really is that feeling of an emotional and physical tension, and you're tight, and it comes from an event that makes us feel angry, frustrated, or nervous. And it's your body's reaction to a challenge or a demand. The effects of stress can really influence the course of many conditions, including psychological and mental health problems such as depression, anxiety. And with what's going on today, there is no shortage of stress, there's no shortage of depression, and there's really no shortage of anxiety. Stress really is important. There is a benefit of stress. It's actually a normal part of our lives, and it actually helps protect us. When we were running from those saber-toothed tigers, we needed to know there's something wrong, and we needed to be able to mount a stress response to deal with that stress. Stress is our body's warning system. We need this response. It's a normal part of our body, and it helps to protect us. So when we feel stress, we have that flight or fight response. So what happens is our brain perceives chemicals, and these chemicals are like epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol. And these are released as a result of our stress response. And you may feel sometimes when you're stressed, you get that increase in heart rate, your blood pressure goes up. You know your body is tense and you're feeling stressed. And partly what happens during this response is you get more oxygen and more glucose delivered to the muscles. And you need that oxygen and you need that glucose to either face your enemy and fight or either run and flight. So your body is preparing you to deal with the stress response. Also, what happens is your immune system's activated because when you're in a stress situation, you don't have time to be sick. You don't have time to be ill. You need your immune system to get in gear and help you. And your breathing is increased. So you know sometimes when you're stressed, I can't deal with it. That's your breathing increased because you need that response to deal with what's coming towards you. And your heart is in overdrive. It's just beating away. The other thing we find when we're stressed is we get razor sharp focus. You need to see that saber-toothed tiger coming from you, and you need to know where to go to get away, where to go to hide. So that focus helps us hone in on what's causing us stress, and it helps us avoid that stressful situation, and it helps us get to safety. Short-term stress, it's good stress. Stresses are good. You know, stress can be positive in a way that it can motivate you to perform on tests. I know a lot of people, especially my niece, when it's like the last day or two, last couple of hours, she kicks into gear, she studies, and she does so well. And sometimes people wait until the last minute, and it increases productivity at work because you are focused on that task. I got to get it done. I'm under the gun, and you start to be more productive. Stress can also push you to your fullest potential. It can help you reach your goals. When you know you've got a deadline and you know you've got something to do, we kind of get in gear, we get focused, and we do it. And sometimes when we're under stress, it can help you accomplish tasks more efficiently. I personally don't like stress. So I do my things way ahead of time so I don't have that energy. But some people, it helps. And stress can also boost your memory because you know you're getting that razor focus. And there's some stresses that are positive, like an upcoming wedding, the birth of a new baby, a new promotion, and the holidays. They're right around the corner. I know for some that can be debatable. You might not like your in-laws, but stress can be good. And stress, and these stresses that are good are normally short-term stressors. We're not running from saber-toothed tigers anymore, but we have modern world threats that are now causing stress. Getting in that day-to-day traffic jam. You know, if you leave the house 5 minutes late and you've got somewhere to go, you're going to be in traffic. You got to get there. You're now stressed. This global pandemic, I can't even begin to tell you how many of my patients, myself, are stressed as a result of what's going on in the world. Relationship issues are a key source of stress. We've seen the uptick in racial injustice and social strife. That's also another form of stress. And the more exposure we have to these stressors, the more intense our frequent and physiological reactions become until we find ourselves being constantly on edge. The body's stress response is not designed to be constantly activated. We are not supposed to stay in that level of stress. We don't sustain stress. Our bodies are not meant to sustain that constant level of stress. And if you look around you, a lot of the issues that we have been sustained for months and months and months. And we're dealing with that stress for quite some time. How do you know when enough is enough? I mean, we all deal with stress differently. You may take it may take you more to get to a point of fatigue than the next person. So how do you know? Some of the signs that you can think about when you're wondering, is enough enough? Your inability to concentrate or complete tasks. If it takes you twice as long to read that page, to complete that task, to get your goals accomplished, you're not concentrating. You're not focused. If you find that you're getting sick more often, you have more colds, more sniffles, you're just not feeling well, or some of the other illnesses that you had in control are now flaring up. Headaches, those tension headaches, that is really a very, very clear sign of enough stress. And irritability. I mean, some of us are naturally irritable, but if you're living with someone who's a little bit more irritable, that can be stress. That stress, it depletes your ability to deal with situations and circumstances because you are fatigued. So you will be a lot more irritable. And you'll have trouble falling asleep or staying awake because you're not getting sleep. And a lot of people come to my office and they say, Dr. Connor, I'm just not eating right. I just don't feel good. My stomach's, bloated. That's change in appetite. And if you get that change in appetite, it can lead to other issues and digestive issues that are coming to my attention. So when I talk to my patients, it's just not surface level. It's like, what else is going on in your life? Because there are so many things that affect our body. Stress is one of them and affects our appetite. And you'll also find that people are more angry or quick tempered than usual. They're just more quick to snap at you. They're more quick to bite at you. That's when you know you're getting stressed and enough is enough. And this stress has significant effects on our body. It can produce long-term illness. It can produce depression, diabetes with that cortisol level up, the blood sugar up, cardiovascular problems, because you remember when we're stressed, our heart rates increase, our blood pressures increase. We're in that constant ready state. And then digestive problems. When you're stressed, you're not eating right. If you're not eating right, you may overindulge. And then you're eating foods that just are not digested properly. You're getting gas, you're getting bloating, you're uncomfortable, you're getting constipation. And then that leads to straining and so many other problems. So there are a significant amount of effects on our body. And if you start to feel these and you start to realize this, that's when you may start thinking, you know what? Enough is enough. When you look at stress in America, there was a survey in 2019 pre-pandemic, and the sources of stress in the survey in 2019 pre-pandemic was money was 75%, work was 70%, the economy was 67%, relationships are 58%, family health was 53%, personal health, paralleled family health, that was 53%. Job stability was 49%, housing was 49%, and personal safety was 32%. This is pre-pandemic. So you can imagine after pandemic, 55% of Americans are stressed during the day. Over half of America is stressed during the day. And according to Gallup's 2019 poll, the emotional stress, over half of America is increasing. It's 20% higher than the world average of 35%. So the world is stressed at 35%. America is stressed at 55%. And if you think about it, if you don't have work and you're worried about you're not bringing in money, and if the economy is not functioning, You don't have a job. You can't bring in money. That's going to affect your relationship. You may not be able to have health insurance. So your family's health is now affected, your own personal health, and you're worried about a job stability. You don't have the money. You don't have the income. Are we going to lose our house? Then you have no home. If there's no home, where is the personal safety? So if these are pre-pandemic levels, you can imagine where we are at the pandemic now. The American Psychological Association says more than 8 in 10 Americans say the future, that's 83% of Americans say the future of our nation is a significant source of stress. I mean, just look around you. The previous high was in 2018, where it was 69%. So that's a significant increase in the amount of people who say of the future of a nation is a significant source of stress. So when is it too much? When do you wave the red flag and say, help me? So how do you cope? You need to understand how you stress and why you stress. Find ways to manage that stress. You take care of yourself. Reach out for support. You know, obviously when the stress is a short-term stress, the effects are short-term. But when the stress is prolonged, out of your control, and the future is uncertain, how do you cope? In order to effectively manage negative emotions and feelings of stress, you first need to have a clear understanding of your own stress. Understand how your body responds to stress. So when you're stressed, start thinking about what you're feeling. And, you know, understanding how your body responds to stress can be key in managing those stressful situations. And it reduces the impact that that stress has on your health. Stress affects everyone differently, and it can be caused by different factors, different triggering events for each individual. Once you have identified what causes your stress, you can begin to recognize how your body is going to respond to those stressful events. One of the things I like to talk about is self-care. We've heard it talked about left and right, self-care, self-care, self-care. What really is self-care? It's the practice of taking action to preserve one's own health. It's the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own health and well-being and happiness, particularly during periods of stress. I just want to say that again. It's the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness. When I was on the plane with my daughter, I always had this plan in my head that I would put my daughter's mask on first rather than mine, because I thought it was very selfish for me to put my mask on first when my daughter's here. She can't protect herself. I'm her mother. I need to protect her. So on one of my umpteen plane rides with my daughter, I stopped the flight attendant. So let me ask you a question. I'm a mom. Why would I put my mask on first and not put my daughter's mask on? And she said, ma'am, if something happened to you, how would you be able to protect her? Light bulb moment. And I realized it's very important. And I always think of that when you think of self-care. Self-care means that you're being mindful of your own needs. So you're better able to support the people you care about. When you take care of yourself and you're not stressed, you're better able to meet the needs of others. You can't give to others what you don't have for yourself. If your well is dry, if your well is empty, you can't give. Self-care is not selfish. It's quite the contrary. Self-care can boost your physical health. It can improve your mental health. It can make you a better caregiver. It provides a break from all the stress that we're under. And it offers time alone to just stop, reflect, and relax. And it generates soothed feelings. Some examples of self-care. First and foremost, plan and schedule, block this time out. I used to think that was a crop. However, being chief of 2 hospitals, owning my own practice, a busy mom, and volunteering, I find my time is shrinking, 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 shrinking. So you really do have to actually plan time for yourself. You have to prioritize yourself. You're just as important as that meeting. So plan and schedule this time. Block it out. You can take a bath, pamper yourself, do your hair, do your nails, your own facial. I know sometimes, especially during this time frame, we don't want to go out. So have a pamper day in your own home. Meditate. Just take some time, and you don't have to light candles and sit in the cross-legged position. Just sit at your desk, sit at your table, just meditate. Read a book, read something that you've always wanted to read that you didn't get any time to read, and spend some time outside. Find a green place. It makes a big difference. The other day, I went bike riding for about half an hour, and I felt so reinvigorated. And reach out to family and friends. That is so key. I know we're socially isolated. I know that we're not able to get out and see, but there's Zoom, there's video chat, there's Facebook. Reach out. Don't stay by yourself. If you don't know where to start with self-care, start with the basics. Are you nourishing your body properly? Think of your safety needs. What options are available to increase housing and financial security if you don't feel financially secure or you're not happy where you live? Love and belonging. Who can you reach out to for a connection? Is it your spouse, your family members, a friend, a colleague? There's got to be somebody in your sphere, in your circle that you can reach out to and get that connection. And also building self-esteem. Spend time doing something that makes you feel masterful, that makes you feel good. Whatever it is, whether it's painting, gardening, do something that you love that makes you feel good about you. Working out regularly is one of the best ways to relax your body and relax your mind. Aim for just simply 30 minutes a day of moderate intense activity. And that's a brisk walk. And you can easily just go outside. It costs no money. Just go out, walk every day for at least 30 minutes. If you want something a little more intense, you 75 minutes of either vigorous swimming, jogging, something that works for you. And set goals. Set goals to keep you motivated. If you're going to go around the block once today, make it twice tomorrow. Or if you do 1 mile this week, do another mile the next week. So these goals can keep you motivated. And just understand, any amount of exercise is better than none. Even if you break it up into simple 10-minute increments, you can do a burst of 10 minutes of exercise here and 10 minutes of exercise, an hour or two later, or 10 minutes of exercise later in the evening. It adds up. So it doesn't have to be 30 minutes, 75 minutes set in the gym. Any amount of exercise you do works. Keep weights in your drawer, and you can do a full set while you're on a Zoom call. Get a partner, make it fun. There's so many things that you can do to exercise. And the benefits of exercise are enormous. Along with weight control and diet, exercise plays a key role in controlling your weight and preventing obesity. It reduces the risk of heart disease. Exercise strengthens the heart, improves circulation. It increases your blood flow. It raises the oxygen levels, all the things that good stress does. It lowers your risk of high cholesterol, coronary artery disease, and heart attack. So those are all the things that you're combating when you exercise. You're stopping, that stress response, you're combating that stress response. And regular exercise lowers your blood pressure, it lowers your triglycerides, and it gives you more of a cardiovascular benefit. Also, some researchers have shown that some cancers, such as colon, breast, lung, and uterine, are reduced with exercising. Exercise improves your mental health and mood. I mean, how many times have you just felt bad, but you've gone for a walk and you feel a little bit better? Exercise helps you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Just make sure you're not exercising right before bedtime. And a really good benefit of exercise, it improves your sexual health. It may lower the risk of erectile dysfunction in men, and in women, it can increase arousal. Exercise increases the chances of living longer. It may reduce the risk of dying from leading causes of death, like cancer and heart disease. But before you start any exercise program, make sure you see your doctor. If you're feeling overly stressed, your digestive system is probably under attack. So you probably, want to make sure that you change your diet so you feel more physically fit and more emotionally fit. So diets should contain fruits, vegetables, grains, lean proteins. And a proper diet can really counterbalance the effects of stress. It can enhance your mood, and it can stabilize your mood, and it also can reduce the blood pressure. Chronic stress can weaken the immune system and affect the body's defenses, leaving a person more susceptible to infection and disease. You are what you eat. So if you can fortify your body, you're fortifying your soul. So what foods should you eat during stress? I mean, you should eat these foods specifically because they're good. But during stressful times, if you have foods that are high in vitamin C, such as oranges and other citrus fruits, tomatoes, peppers, greens, leafy greens, that can reduce the stress and it also helps to boost the immune system. Calcium-rich foods, they may reduce the muscle tension and anxiety because when you're stressed, you get really tense. And some examples of calcium-rich foods are low-fat milk, yogurt, sesame seeds, cheese, broccoli, again, leafy green vegetables. You'll see that's really key. And B vitamins. B vitamins are found in bananas, leafy greens again, nuts, seeds, meat, fish, and dairy products. And these provide the body with energy. And you need that energy boost after a period of stress. Magnesium helps you relax muscles, reduce anxiety, and it plays an essential role in hormone energy production. You can find magnesium particularly in Brazilian nuts. Complex carbohydrates are very key. Eating whole, unprocessed carbohydrates such as whole grain bread, pasta, cereals, oats, and brown rice will help to enhance levels of serotonin. But just as there are foods that you should eat, there are some foods that you should avoid during stressful times. I'm sure these are the ones that we love the most. Caffeine is key. It acts as a stimulant. It causes the adrenal gland that we learned about earlier to release hormones like cortisol. And we saw the effects of high levels of cortisol. And that's already high due to the fact that our bodies are under strain and stress already. It reduces our ability to deal with stress. I know when you have people drink a lot of caffeine, they're not able to sleep, so they get insomnia. There's nervousness, and that's inherently linked to stress. And it can interfere with the absorption of magnesium, which we just learned a minute ago is needed for energy production. And it can interfere with the absorption of vitamin D that's needed for metabolism boosting. According to a study published in the British Journal of Psychiatry, high consumption of processed fats increase the risk of depression. Researchers found that people with diets high on processed fats had a 58% higher risk of depression than those who ate foods that were whole. When you have cravings for processed and sugary foods, it usually increases during times of stress. We want that comfort food. We want that ice cream. We want that mac and cheese. We want the carbs and the bread. But the thing is, these sugary foods provide a short, quick burst of energy, and we get those temporary feelings of stress relief. But then you crash right back down and get a low period where your blood sugar levels are low. Many people turn to alcohol as a means of dealing with stress. The Nielsen report reports alcohol sales in stores were up 54% in late March compared to that same time in March of 2019. So you may think alcohol may have an instant calming effect on your body, but long-term usage increases the amount of stress in people's lives because one drink leads to a second drink, which leads to a third drink because you keep chasing that calming effect, and that can lead to addiction. Excessive alcohol intake can lead to sleep problems, nervousness, and skin irritation. And it causes the body to release larger amounts of adrenaline, that hormone we talked about. It also affects the blood sugar level. So you want to limit your alcohol intake to 1 glass of wine or a cocktail for women and 2 for men. According to the National Sleep Foundation survey, 43% of people aged 13, as young as 13 to 64, have reported lying awake at night due to stress at least once in the past month. Don't eat or drink close to bedtime. You want to make sure that you have at least 3 to 4 hours before eating and drinking before you lay down to go to sleep. That'll also help with some of the issues of reflux people may have. Avoid that alcoholic nightcap. Don't nap after 3 p.m. because it'll make it more harder for you to fall asleep later that night. Use the bed and bedroom only for sleep and only for sex. Reduce the blue light effect, turning off devices, computers, phones, tablets, and TVs at least an hour before heading to bed so our brains can kind of power down. Increase bright light exposure during the day, which also helps to improve your mood. And get regular exercise, but don't do it between 2 to 3 hours before bed because you'll still be energized. Do not avoid physical health maintenance and care. Many of us have put these visits on hold because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're not seeing our doctors. We're not doing the screening exams that we need to do. Screening exams such as mammograms, colonoscopy, prostate cancer, pap smears, these save lives. Your annual physical exam with your primary care physician or your family practitioner are key to help diagnose whether there's diabetes or blood pressure and examine the heart. Your dental exams are key, as well as your eye exams. So that is all part of self-care, taking care of yourself and making sure you do the routine physical exams and screening exams. So know yourself, know your stresses, know when enough is enough, and pay attention to your body. Pay attention to these cues. You have to understand. I don't know how long this pandemic ends. I think one of the participants said, "When is it over?" We don't know. Hopefully, a vaccine is on the horizon. But even so, if it's not COVID-19, there can be another issue, another emergency. You have to learn how to take care of yourself.